Welcome, Algebra 1, to your last notes video. This isn't your last video because I'll make a study guide video, but this is your last notes video. So I feel like it's not the time to be sentimental because that's not the type of person I am. But, you know, it's been a great year. I was thinking about our year and what a year it's been. We've had a lot of changes throughout the year. I can't even I feel like the beginning of this semester seems like eons ago. So, just wanted to let you guys know that, it's been a good year. Yeah, this is so sad. This is just weird. It's just a weird year. But I feel like I'll be more sentimental in the entire last video, as sentimental as I can get. So we'll just continue as normal with notes. Okay, so we are talking about vertex form today, which some of you seem to already know already because you were writing it in your answers. So interesting. So the standard form of a quadratic function is something we've already seen. We've already dealt with it. And so the standard form of a quadratic function is ax squared. This is not new. Ax squared plus bx plus c. So that was same standard form from the last video. Nothing is different there. No new anything. Okay, so what we're going to be dealing with now is vertex form. Vertex form is huge because it literally has the vertex in the form. So if you have something already in vertex form, you can look at the vertex, you can find the vertex without ever without doing any math, basically. So vertex form is f of x. Remember, f of x is the same thing as y. A, and I'm using the same color on purpose, x minus h squared plus k. Okay, so let's talk about this quickly. And that's like a green. I feel like you can't see it, but it's maybe I should have done a different color. Here, I'll do a different color. This is where my psychoticness comes in. It's just I like things to be particular. I don't know. She's crazy. Okay. I don't feel like that changed it much, but on my side, it's night and day. Okay, so a few things. First, we know f of x and y are the same thing. We wrote that before. So you can use f of x, you can use y, it doesn't matter. And then if you notice, it's the same a value. So like I said, I did those in the same color on purpose. So it's the same a value. So if you have an a value from standard form, you have the a value from the vertex form, which is nice. And then hk, remember, h is the x value of the vertex. And k is the y value of the vertex. So just as a reminder over here, the vertex is h, comma, k. I guess the purple looks the most like the blue. It's just an all-around fail with colors for me today, apparently. Sorry. Okay, So an example, it says write the function f of x equals 2x squared plus 8x minus 1 in vertex form. So we have 3 really easy steps. The first one is probably the most involved, but you've already done it. So our first step is to find the vertex of the quadratic. And I'm going to rewrite our formulas. Oh, sorry, my nose was, I write so close to the paper, and then apparently I looked up and I could see my face. I'm sorry you had to see that. Okay, so remember the h value is equal to the opposite of b, so negative b, divided by 2a. So that's our formula. We did that, I think that was the first video we did for finding the vertex of a quadratic. So hopefully that's sticking. That's super important. It's something that doesn't go away. You're going to see it in Algebra 2 and Honors Algebra 2. You see it in Pre-Calc quadratics. This entire section is huge. So that is it. If you take away anything, this is one of the biggest things to take away. And then K, you just plug the H value. K, plug the H value in for X and solve for Y. Okay, so we're going to do that. We're going to start over here, and we're going to find our vertex. So A here is 2. B here is, oops, sorry, throwing pens. B is 8. And C is negative 1. Okay, so when we plug that in, so H is going to be equal to opposite of 8. So that's going to be negative 8. Divided by 2a, which that's 2 times 2. So that gets me, I'm throwing pens left and right over here. So negative 8 over 4. So that gets me an H value of negative 2. Okay, so then once we get negative 2, or once we have our H value, now I can find K. Remember, K is just plugging it back into the original equation. So that's going to be 2 times negative 2 squared plus 8 times negative 2 minus 1. Now remember, you have to do order of operations here. So the first thing we want to do is simplify our exponents. So it's negative 2 squared is going to be the first thing I do. So negative 2 squared is 4. And then I can multiply. So remember, PEMDAS or GEMDAS is your grouping symbols and then your exponents. So exponents come before multiplying. So 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times negative 2 is negative 16 minus 1. So that is negative 9. Yeah. I don't know why I second guessed myself. Okay, so K equals negative 9. Okay, so I found my vertex, negative 2, negative 9. Then what I'm going to do, the second step is actually probably the easiest step. The second step is to identify the A value. Like I said, easy step. We already did that. A is equal to 2, so my A value here is 2. And then your last step, and again, it's really another easy step, is to plug the H, K, and A into vertex form. So plug H, or let's start with A. Let's go in order. Plug A H and K. I'm going to squeeze this in. I should have written smaller. Into vertex form. Okay, so what that looks like. So vertex form is here. So f of x, that doesn't change, equals a, which we know a is 2. And then x minus h. So x minus negative 2, which we're going to simplify in a second, so just hang tight, squared plus k, so plus negative 9. So again, we're doing a lot of simplifying here. Okay, so what happens, minus and minus becomes a positive. And then this plus and minus, we're just going to stick with the negative. So my final answer here is going to be f of x equals 2 times x plus 2 squared minus 9. And that is the final answer. Now, here's what I'll say. A few things. If I'm looking at standard form, or I'm sorry, if I'm looking at the vertex form and I say, what's the vertex? It's your H and your K. Your H is always the opposite. So it's your vertex here is going to be negative 2, negative 9, just like we found, negative 2, negative 9. So what's important is that minus is like built into the equation. So whenever you're like, if I said, what's the vertex? You look at the sign, and for the H value, you take the opposite sign. So if this is positive 2, your H value would be negative 2. If this was negative 2, your H value would be positive 2. So it's always the opposite. Okay, so we are going to go and do our examples. Apparently, I didn't want to number them. So cool. And what I want to do is I want you guys to first just on your own identify what A, B, and C are for this function. So pause and think about what's A, what's B, and what's C. Okay, you should be coming back. You should have labeled A, B, and C. So A is equal to negative 3, which is going to be important. We want to label that no matter what. B is equal to 12, and C is equal to 5. Okay, so then what I want you guys to do is plug those values into vertex form, or your like basically H formula, and get your H value. So get H, come back, and check your work. Okay, so H is going to be the opposite of B, so the opposite of 12 divided by 2a, so 2 times negative 3. So we have negative 12. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. First thing I recognize is a negative and a negative make a positive. So 12 divided by 6 gets me an H value of 2. Okay, so if you got an H value of 2, what I want you guys to do is plug it back into your function, into your quadratic function, and get your K value. And then come back and check your work. Okay, so K is going to be equal to, let's see, negative 3 times 2 squared plus 12 times 2 plus 5. Remember, when we're simplifying this, we do order of operations. So we have to do this 2 squared first. And that's going to be negative 3 times 4. And then I can multiply. Negative 12 plus 24 plus 5. Which gets me 17, which is my K value. Okay, so now we have our H value, we have our K value, we have our A value. A is equal to negative 3. And now I can just plug that into vertex form. So that's going to be f of x equals A, which is negative 3. Oops, x minus 2. Notice the minus stays there. Squared. Don't forget the squared. That's probably the most common mistake. Plus k, which is 17. Oh, I hope it was going that whole time. It looked like it was stopped for a second. So here's hoping you captured all that. So here's the parabola. It's downwards facing. Your vertex is at 217, which is one thing I can gather from this, and I can gather that it's facing down. And my vertex is a maximum because the vertex is the highest point on the graph. Okay, let's go on to the second example here. So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to first, just like the last one, identify A, B, and C. So pause me here and come back and check. Identify A, B, and C. Okay. So I have A is equal to -5, B is equal to -20, and C is equal to -26. So then what I want you guys to do is pause here, and I want you to find your H value. So just pause me here and find H. And I'm going to do that too on my own. Pause the video. Go. Okay, so I got H to be equal to -2. A few things I wanted to mention. So the opposite of -20 is that +20. And then 2 times A, 2 times -5 is -10. So 20 divided by -10 gets me that -2. So now what I want you guys to do, plug in -2 to get your K value. So plug in -2. I'm going to pause my video here and do that as well. Okay, so I got my K value to be equal to -6. Again, make sure we're doing exponents first. We're then multiplying. -20 times -2 got me that +40. And then I get K equals -6. So be careful. Take your time here. Make sure you're not making a mistake on the Y value because you're not following your order of operations. And then what I want you guys to do, try plugging it into Vertex Form on your own. So plug that into Vertex Form, come back, check your work. And I'm going to do that now so you guys can check to make sure. So Vertex Form, f of x equals A. A we got to be -5. So it's going to be -5, which tells me the parabola is facing downwards. X minus -2. Squared, don't forget that squared, plus my K value, -6. And really the K value, you can just always put the sign of whatever the K value is. It's going to be minus here. So this is going to simplify to be f of x equals -5. A negative and a negative make a positive -6. Okay, so one thing I want to mention, so that's it. But one thing I want to mention is just like last thing, which I should have put in the notes, but I didn't. So here we go. We're going to just add a little quick tidbit here. So given the quadratic in vertex form, state the vertex. Okay, so if I gave you, I'm going to do 2 examples. F of x equals 3, x minus 4 plus 5, or x minus 4 squared plus 5. And then this one is going to be f of x equals -2, x plus 1 squared minus 8. Okay, so looking at those, we want to identify the vertex. So the vertex here, H, remember H is looking here and it's looking at the opposite. So if it's a -4, H here is going to be a +4. And then K is looking at this outside number, k, is looking at positive 5, and it keeps that sign. So it would be, my vertex would be 4, 5. And that's it. I can also ask you, what direction does this parabola open? And just by looking at the a value, we know it's positive, so it opens upwards. So one thing, I'm just going to make a quick note. Actually, I'll make a quick note about it at the end. So what I want you guys to do on your own, think about what's the vertex for number 2. So what's the vertex for number 2? So if you thought about it, hopefully you did. We look at the 1, we take the opposite sign. So if it's positive 1, we take negative 1. And then my k value is just this number here. We don't have to think about signs. We just take the whole thing as is. It's negative 8. So my vertex is negative 1, negative 8. And so the note that I was going to make, which I wanted to use both of these, the h value is always the opposite sign of the value in the function, which is what I've been saying. And that's it. So that's your notes. That is our last notes. It's been good. I hope you guys have been enjoying the videos. I hope they have been really helping you. I really encourage you guys, like, if you're struggling with any of these, to go back and watch them. But that's it. That's all she wrote with videos. I feel like I'm going to be saying all this, and then I'm going to be like, oh, wait, I forgot. I have to make another video for you. I am making like a study guide video. So I guess we're not completely done with videos and you having to listen to my voice, but we're done. I think we're done with notes. I say that now, and then I'm like, are we done with notes? No, we're done with notes. I think I looked it up. So I don't know. I may surprise you. I don't know. I don't think so. I think you're just doing your test. So, okay. Well, there's my rambling. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you guys are doing well. I miss you. We're so close. We're almost there. So keep going. Keep working hard. You guys are doing such a great job. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys.